Happy Friday, Bobby Fi here, flying solo. Sheets will be back, hopefully for live. He's got an appointment. He's got to do some physical stuff, so hopefully we'll have him for live. But in the meantime, I'm going to do a preview of the MLB followed by the NBA slate tonight. As you guys know, like with MLB, Tuesdays and Fridays are the days you get sort of everybody playing. So you got the monster slates, and we still have one more NBA 3-gamer, at least for now. So I want to keep playing the 3-gamers. Almost got there last night, and oddly I had a chance to win the $4. Honestly, if that game, if the Lakers game goes into overtime, I think I do win it. And that was kind of wild because I was like not even paying attention to that one. I was paying attention to my bigger buy-in stuff, and hey, it would have been $10,000. So I ended up finishing like 17th, I think, because of a late stat correction. Went from 9th to 17th, but certainly had a chance to get there. Felt like we made the right decisions. Baseball was basically like a wash for me if you take both sites out. I won all my lineups on FanDuel, which was 3. And I had I didn't win my biggest buy-in, but like I cashed in the 121, the 88 in my one entry, the 44. Like those things I did fine in. So ended up pretty close to even on the day overall, but ready to do a little bit better today. We're going to get after it. We're going to go game by game and talk through it. Please like and subscribe and all that stuff. Reminder, Sheets has been crushing it. Everything's, I really encourage anybody, if you haven't used Sheets projections, he's got his own proprietary projections. They're unbelievable. And he's been just absolutely crushing this year. So shout out to Sheets. And just a reminder, check out the packages we have. We have some free trials also going with the SaberSim Ultimate package, which I think you could only get through us. So I would hope you guys would check it out. It's a pretty cool site. You get all of, SaberSim's content, all of their projections and everything with the lineup builder, all of Goldie's projections, which I find to be pretty much, in terms of ownership especially, basically the best in the industry. You can see I included them over here. They end up showing up on the far right of the screen, so you got to drag them over. We're trying to get that stuff fixed out, but it's pretty easy to do. I'll get my core plays up a little later today when I have a better feel for the slate. But as a first look, let's get into it. Like and subscribe and all that stuff when you get here. And yeah, I'm just going to grab one thing out of my screen and go from there. Sorry, I've got trying even with multiple screens, I find that I sometimes am like stumbling over which of my screens to use. And I used to be like better at it when I played poker because it was very basic and I knew exactly which size tournaments I had where and all that. For some reason, sometimes I'm, when I'm doing shows alone, especially, and I'm trying to juggle between 4 or 5 screens, or 3 or 4 screens, I should say, it gets a little tricky. So anyway, all right, we're going to get into it. I'm going to take a quick look at the weather just to see if there's anything worth noting before we get into the whole slate. I didn't notice anything when I looked last night, but things could have changed. It looks like it looks like in New York there's a little bit of rain. Could be some issues, maybe in Baltimore, but overall, I'm not going to treat this as a major slate to worry about anything. At least as far as the first look goes, we'll revisit if anything comes up later today. Anyway, all right. So with that said, let's get into it. First game on the slate is Reagans and Barrios. 2 pitchers I like quite a bit in general. Not that I like today. I do think that the Blue Jays are a little bit too dangerous, probably for me to go with Reagans against the lefty. They're just dangerous with their righties. But I'm wondering if I'm almost just like too stuck in an old way of thinking with that. I think I'm still giving Vlad like one of the best hitters in baseball credit, and he hasn't really been acting like it for about a year and a half. Bo Bichette, Justin Turner, George Springer, all these guys historically very good against lefties. Reagans, I believe to be very good, and this projection seems pretty. I don't understand what's happening. Let me just refresh this. Oh, I'm on FanDuel. That's what my problem is. You know what? That's my bad. Sorry about that, guys. Let me jump over to the DraftKings screen. We'll talk about FanDuel. I'll touch on that at the end, but as of right now, I want to just try and focus on the DraftKings. And it was like the pricing. Nothing made any sense there. Yeah, Reagans at 7,800 is a little different. I think I can definitely talk myself into taking a shot there. Nobody who's high on my list. The same way that no batters are high on my list in this game. I just don't have any real interest in trying to pick on these pitchers. If it was a smaller slate, maybe, but on this slate, I don't think I'm going to get there. Reagans at 7,800, certainly a guy you could consider as an SP2 today, but you can see there's not a whole lot of totally obvious who we need to pitch today, pretty much everywhere. All right, we have Boston and San Francisco. In Boston, I like San Francisco a little bit here. You've got Criswell on the other side. I still don't know what – I feel like Boston – you could tell me by the end of the year they're going to be 20 games under 500. You could tell me they're going to be 20 games over. Neither one would shock me, but I think the 20 games under would probably be more likely. Yeah, so I think San Francisco is certainly a stack that I can talk myself into today. Huge, one of the biggest park upgrades in baseball. It is only 49 degrees, however, in Boston. And you do have winds blowing in at 10 miles an hour from right field. So it kind of, takes my excitement down a little bit. So I'm probably not going to get to the full stacks, but I certainly don't mind at least a mini stack. They're cheap enough. They make things work. And I would prefer to play the righties in this game if I had a choice. Moving over to Chicago and New York, Minaya and Assad. This price, look, I hate picking on Chicago, so the reality is I probably just don't end up playing Minaya. I'd be lying if I said he wasn't on my list right now. But you guys know my theory about Chicago. I just don't think there's that much upside unless you have a truly elite pitcher facing them to really, really attack them. I do think that the hitting in this game, again, we've got a little bit of the weather, but the problem is 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing in. I would have been interested a little bit in the Mets. I just don't think I want to pick on this. And you have really low totals for both teams. It does seem a little too low. The total of this game is 7. The Cubs with a 3.3 implied run total. I know it's bad hitting weather, but I'll bet the over on that one. Just because of the cold weather and the wind blowing in, just makes it a little bit less appealing to me. So unless something changed with the weather, probably not going to get to a full stack of this one as well. You guys know what I like to do. Take big slates, try to make them small if you can, and really focus on that stuff. That's what I'm going to try to do. All right, here's a game where maybe we could do something. But again, 65 degrees in Chicago, so a little bit better. But you do have what is it? It's like 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't know. Somewhere between 5 and 10 miles an hour, wind blowing in from center. I think that the Twins are definitely interesting here. They're going to be probably owned. I didn't play them yesterday, and I felt very good about it because I thought the ownership would be high, and I think it was higher than it should have been. I am okay with them. They're cheap. You can fit them in with other stacks. Of all the teams we've talked about so far, they're probably the one I like the most up to this point of the show. But I also think you could make an argument for the White Sox, which feels funny to say out loud because they're so awful. I just don't think I can do it unless they have like some huge boost in weather, which this really isn't. I'm not going to do it. The other thing is we paid $4K for Simeon Woods Richardson last time out. I think it was against the White Sox too, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was, yeah. And he put up 15 fantasy points, which is about what you want for 4K. But 7K gets a little bit trickier. It is the White Sox, so you could take a shot. I just don't think I'm going to end up probably doing anything in this game. And honestly, if Soroka wasn't so bad and just literally any other pitcher, I would probably gamble against Minnesota as well, just because their offense has been so poor and they strike out plenty. But yeah, so far, not a whole lot of hitting to be enthused about that we've run into just yet. We're going to like probably the late game hitting again. I think that's just where we're at these days. So Milwaukee, Tampa Bay, Peralta, and Tyler Alexander. I do think Peralta is one of the better options on this slate. He's going to be, fairly high owned. Tampa's always, there's always a upside in playing against them, but there also is a little bit like it worries me, like historically, they've got enough professional hitters, but this year they just don't seem like the same team that we've seen the previous years. So I don't think I'm going to get to that. Tyler Alexander is like not the kind of play you make on this slate, but I think if you had a different type of slate, you would consider Tyler Alexander. I don't think he's pitched more than 4 innings in any of his starts. Oh, I think no, that's not true. He had 5 and 6 in one, but he actually, it's Milwaukee. They have not been great offensively. I think that I'm going to side more with the Milwaukee bats today. I do like some of these guys specifically against lefties, Sanchez, Hoskins, obviously Contreras, who's just been hitting the cover off the ball early in the year, Churio. I'm okay with the Milwaukee stack. I think that's now that we got rid of the last ones, I think Milwaukee is the stack I would feel the best about of the stacks we've talked about this far. You like the dome; it's a good enough hitters park. Generally considered to be very good for lefties, but it's pretty good both ways, and we don't have to worry about any weather of any kind, any cold weather, any wind blowing in, any of that stuff. So I'm definitely okay with the idea of a Milwaukee stack here today. Washington, Texas. John Gray, we know this. It's the same Texas. It's the same thing with Washington, right? Like they don't strike out a ton. They are not a good offense. It's like a mini version, a poor man's version of Cleveland last year. But I think John Gray has to be in play at 7,300. Not overwhelmingly excited about it. I'm probably a bigger Mackenzie Gore fan as a pitcher. I think he's actually going to be decent. And I've sort of waited for him to bust out more. I feel like every time he's pitching, he's got a really tough matchup. And he certainly has one today in Texas. So I will not be playing the Mackenzie Gore. I understand that he's, there's some upside here. I just think it's dangerous against Texas personally. I do think that, look, using some pieces of Washington where they're cheap, sure. CJ Abrams having a good year, sure. I think Texas against Gore, because he can get a little wild, is sort of like an off-the-board stack that I would consider, but nothing that I'm overwhelmingly excited about here. Again, you do have the dome, so you don't have to worry about the weather. Yeah. All right, motoring on into Houston, so Houston has been not only I think they've been like the second or third worst team in all of baseball, period. They've also, people probably don't realize they've been they're the worst in terms of they've hit under on their run projections basically every single day. They have been just god awful, just as a baseball team in every way. So you're going to see if you see Houston popular, I've been saying it to everybody this year, try to jump as far the other direction as you possibly can. But you end up with certain matchups, and we don't really know what Carrasco is anymore. Seems, I think the best way to put it is a streaky guy who can get hit up pretty good and who definitely, is going to be susceptible to home runs. Hunter Brown is a guy who I'm was very high on for the future, and I still am. I just think that I don't know what's happening with him. We really have not seen him pitch well. He had his best start last time out where he only had 11 fantasy points. Oh, no, second best start. He had one good one against St. Louis early in the year, which, again, St. Louis. So, yeah, it's weird. I definitely think you could take the hitting in this game, and that's probably what people are going to do. Actually, it's not as much as I thought. Both these teams have to be in play for me, but I don't think I have to prioritize either of them. Alvarez always can be a priority play. That's fine against Carrasco. That seems like an awesome home run spot for him. I could get behind, either side of this. More likely the Houston side, but again, I always say the ownership. Let's see what Goldie has him at. I put Goldie's ownership. Oh, no, I did it on FanDuel. Let's see. Goldie's got them. Yeah, Goldie's got Houston as a little more popular. But again, it's a big slate, not enough to where you'd worry about it. What I would worry about is the fact that they might just be a fraudulent team. At least they've been a fraudulent team this far in the season. My guess is it evens out and they end up playing a little bit better. But anyway, that's where it's at for right now. Turnbull at 9,100. It is the Angels. Man, what happened with Spencer Turnbull? I feel like this is a guy we used to, with Detroit, we were always about picking on and really turned things around to his credit. So, good on him. I don't know that I want to do this, but I mean, everything he's done looks like we should be playing him, at least a little bit, certainly while no one else is. So I'm going to put him on my list just because no one else, it feels like a lot, but I do think this is it's the Angels. I still don't think much of their offense. It's actually nice hitting weather today. Then you had Tyler Anderson against Philly, who my old rules with Tyler Anderson were just, I don't like to stack against him. I also don't really like using him as a pitcher. Nothing's really changed from that, but he has been giving up more home runs this year. And Philly is a dangerous offense. So I could certainly get behind. Let's see where Goldie has. Yeah, Goldie's got Philly as fairly popular. And I don't think anyone's, playing the Angels, but I'm not going to get there either. I do think Philly they're definitely on the list, but again, far from a priority in any way for me. Like I said, I like the matchup. The matchup's fine against Anderson. He just doesn't tend to get blown up enough. But I don't believe in the bullpen behind him. Philly's certainly a team I'm going to consider later. Right now, I've got them in the second tier. I think I might change my mind a little bit later. Boy, what a pitcher's duel we had in Seattle last night. That was pretty awesome stuff. We had Fried and Miller just going at each other. There was this just dynamite. And here you can see we have the two of the most popular pitchers tonight on this in this matchup. If this is real, this can't be real, right? And Goldie's got it closer to 30%. I mean, what's happening though, guys? Are we really going to take the most popular pitcher against Atlanta on this slate? I know Castillo's been awesome. This seemed like a spot where I thought I was going to get a chance to play him at low ownership. I don't know. I don't know if I buy these ownerships. This doesn't feel right. Same thing with Lopez. Like, you're telling me Lopez is going to be 25% owned at 9,300? I know we don't have a lot of sure thing pitchers on this slate, but man, I guess that's just what it is. Yeah, I'm probably going to be avoiding the pitching in this situation. And I would consider at least a mini version of a Seattle stack. No one's going to be owned in this game whatsoever. You can see there's not one person, and SaberSim has projected above 1%. Goldie's got a few in the 1-2% range. Certainly something you could consider for one-offs, if nothing else, just because the lack of ownership. However, I'm just not ready to turn around and say Ronaldo Lopez is like one of the best pitchers in baseball. I do think he may have figured some things out, and we could look forward to good. I said that before about him. We start playing him at 25% owned at 9,500. I don't know. It is the best strikeout matchup in baseball. Lopez certainly belongs on the list, but probably a guy who, again, for me, is on the outside looking in. I like that I like so little on this slate. It makes it a lot more fun. So roof open again in Arizona. This is where I think we're going to be doing some business. Dodgers with Knack in what should be, I don't know exactly how long they're gonna let him go. He did pitch. I don't exactly have that. I'll grab the pitch counts later, but he pitched 5 innings his last start. He's only started against Washington 2 starts. Decent enough stuff. Like maybe I can't play either of these pitchers. The only question is how much do I want to stack against them? And I think it's a pretty good amount just because of the ownership. Best offense in baseball, and the Dodgers, you could see that they're going to get more ownership than what what SaberSim's thinking. I think that's accurate. I do like the Dodgers for what it's worth. They are an offense that I feel extremely comfortable stacking, and I feel good about it. I also like Arizona, and I think that you can feel very comfortable with them as well. So Dodgers, Arizona, again, this is going to happen. It's not, it's going to be hot. It's Arizona. The roof's open. Jordan Montgomery is probably a little bit underrated based on the way we treat him in DFS, but it's the Dodgers. I'm more than happy to take that shot. And like I said, I almost like Arizona just as much, even though I'm not sure. I still haven't decided my feelings about Knack overall yet. But I'm into this. I'm into that, both sides of the hitting in that game. Pitching in the Cincinnati-San Diego game is Darvish and Martinez. I just got to double check something on Darvish real quick. Darvish is, we've missed 2 starts. So he's coming back. He might be limited. He hasn't been good, but it seems like you got to consider at 0 ownership. I'll take some shots, man. Cincinnati, it's on the road, at least for them. It's 61 degrees in San Diego. Nothing good or bad about the hitting weather. A little bit of wind blowing out, but nothing special. Nick Martinez, former San Diego Padre. The Padres feel like a stack I can get behind today. Again, we're going to be stacking the later games. At least I am for the most part. I'm okay if you wanted to say you could stack either side of this. I don't think I would stack Cincinnati on this slate, but I definitely think I'm going to stack some San Diego. So San Diego comes in number 4 right now for me of all the teams we've talked about, behind the Dodgers, Arizona, and Milwaukee. But I like San Diego in this spot, and I haven't liked them that much this year. So take that for what it's worth. I don't know if it's worth much, but I think they're being a little bit under projected here, and I think that this could be a big spot for them. All right, we always know the same things come up whenever we have the A's. I do like Keller for what it's worth before we get into all the bats and everything. Alex Wood pitched really well at Yankee Stadium last time out, didn't he? It was just 5 innings, but he, 5 innings, how many? 5 strikeouts, and basically, what did he give up? 1-2 hits. Maybe Alex Wood is coming back to himself. Now, I'm not necessarily suggesting playing him. I'm more thinking from a let's not stack against him, possibly. The total in this game, 7.5, nice low total. 63 degrees in Oakland with 10-mile-an-hour winds blowing out, and you could talk me into some of the Pittsburgh stuff, but I also think maybe Alex Wood is sort of figuring himself out a little bit and hasn't maybe been, I think he's made steps in the right direction. Let's put it that way. His last couple starts, he's looked a little better, and pitching in Yankee Stadium and pitching well is I'm going to give him a little credit for that. So personally, I don't think I end up getting to the Pittsburgh. I think I could end up seeing myself using pieces from this. Tyler Nevin, again, he was a priority for me yesterday, hit a home run, So hopefully that worked out for those of you who played him. I think that like the pricing is just the only thing that keeps me interested in the A's here. If Lawrence Butler leads off, even though I like some Keller, I don't mind taking some shots on the A's. I don't think Keller is by any means unhittable. He certainly hasn't looked that way. And I think that there's also a lot of upside for him. So I don't mind playing him, and then also maybe getting not Oakland stacks, but like you have cheap the cheap 1, 2, 3 is an interesting little mini stack for Oakland. I could certainly see myself doing something like that. And I can see myself talking myself into a little bit more of the Pirates. Again, just a little bit worried that Wood may have had some things figured out. We'll do a quick lineup build here, see what they get us for early in the day. We'll build 20. We're going to build 20 into the – let me grab it really quick. We're going to build 20 into, let's say, into the lottery, basically. So where is the there we go. That's the Mega 8s. Let's do the Mini Max. Let's do the Mini Max instead of the lottery. Well, I guess that's really the lottery. Depends on what me and Sheets use as the lottery. It's so silly because nobody else uses those terms, but we do. So it's just it's kind of funny. Let's see what they give us, and then we'll do the Sims and everything, all that stuff. All right. So let's make Alvarez 10, and we'll make Mookie 10 just for whatever's sake. I mean, yeah, maybe it changes things a little bit. I don't think it does. All right. So let's see what we got here. And we'll see what comes up. Please, again, guys, I know this is a smaller group. The baseball stuff, we don't get as many live people as we did for a little while there. It's just is what it is. And hopefully a few more people can tune in for the basketball thing next. It's going to be a first look. And basketball is like, I almost like don't even want to do the basketball one at 10 because I really like everything that we're going to need to know. Like there's a lot of questionables. I think we know everybody what they're going to do with these questionables, but it's not a guarantee. And for a playoff slate, there might be more to wait on for a basketball slate than we're necessarily used to. In fact, I'm getting news in right now. Oh, no, Will Zalatoris has withdrawn from Byron Nelson. That is neither here nor there, as they say. All right. So let's see what we got here. And I'm not going to do the whole sorting thing. I'm just going to go Zach Gallen is now starting for Arizona. Okay. Well, that changes things a little bit. Well, I'll bump the Dodgers down a little bit, but more than a little bit, I guess. But I'm not going to completely write them off. I'll do some digging on the Gallen numbers. He's faced us a number of times, and we've had very mixed. He's owned us a couple times, and we've lit him up a couple times, I'm pretty sure. All right, so let's see what we got. Let's run the sim, and then let's just see what exposure it gave us at first glance here once we get out of here. And Zach Gallen is now starting. Why didn't I get that piece of news? Thanks for that, Power. Appreciate you, buddy. Always helpful. Oh, okay. That's big. So he's not starting today. Okay, that changes things. Okay, I'm glad. I was going to be digging around everywhere trying to find out where that information was. All right, so here's what you're going to get from Saber Sim as of right now. Again, obviously things are going to change. We'll go to our exposures, and we'll see what kind of stacks. Oh, they just went all in on Minnesota. 90% Ryan Jeffers. All in on Minnesota. All in. Sure. It seems over the top. I know you're only playing 20 lineups, and they're trying to give you a chance to get every combination. They went with Chicago. That's kind of interesting. Minnesota, Chicago are the main ones. Let's see who they put as a pitcher. Only 6 pitchers they used. Castillo at 90% against Atlanta. Okay. I'm pretty sure I'm doing none of this. So this is just what Saber Sim's giving us, but it is kind of shocking to see what they give you. I'm not sure why everyone is so sure that Luis Castillo is this awesome play tonight. I understand he's a good pitcher. The Braves are a good team. Minnesota. Yeah. And the thing is, Houston is like I was saying about Houston before. I've got them on my list today, but Houston has been the most fraudulent team in baseball. Everybody has talked about it. I've seen it in our Discord, Rody. Everybody's talking about it every day. It's Houston. Houston has done nothing. They've been one of the worst teams in all of baseball. They've let us down every single day. Do we want to keep going after it? Are they going to get back? I think they probably do bounce back at some point. But it just feels like if they get chalky, there's no way I'm ever playing them as chalk. They just aren't good. They've got a couple good bats in their lineup, and otherwise, all the cheating and everything may have finally caught up with them. All right, so let's see what kind of stacks they gave us. 5-2. Whoa, hold on. Sorry, that's not 5-2. No, wait, let's go 5 stacks. Yeah, it's 100% Minnesota stacks. 5-man stacks, Minnesota 85%. Okay, so they did a couple 4-mans. Yeah, the 4-4s. Hey, nice to get a little bit different with that. And then of the 3-man stacks, it's going to be they got it all spread out for the 3-mans, which I think makes a lot of logical sense. Anyway, guys, good luck to everybody today. I'll see you live at 6 Eastern. Hopefully, Sheets will be with us as well. Please.